Hey y'all, it's Cindy, your Sassy Southern Grandma here. We're in a little different environment today. We're outside at the Creekside Park in Sedona. I've taken a little side trip with my husband for a few days and we are enjoying this weather. I'll show you a few pictures of some places we've been, did a little hiking yesterday. And the fact that we can go on a little side trip just spontaneously is one of the great benefits of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about having an empty nest. I know it's a dreaded thing. If you've got grown-up kids, you know it. You've been down through it. You understand. But if you haven't yet, it's best to prepare for it ahead of time. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I know when your babies, even if they're 6'2", it's still your baby. When they start flying the coop, it's like 1 minute you're tearing up at the high school graduation and the next thing you know, they're gone. You've got this quiet house and you're thinking, what am I gonna do with all this quiet? It's not something we think about ahead of time a lot of times, but it's a good thing to think about it ahead of time. They're all gonna grow up and go away. That's part of it. I always looked at myself as a mom as I'm working myself out of a job. I'm preparing these people, little people that grow into big people, preparing them to go out and live life on their own. So I don't have that mama job anymore, although we always have the mama job. But not the mama job where they're in the house and we don't have to stock up on pizza and Cokes and all the snacks and all the things that you need when you've got all those people in the house. So what are we going to do with all this quiet? First of all, enjoy it for a minute because Lord knows we've been through enough with the noise. I have 5 kids, so I know noise, but let's enjoy that quiet for a minute. Now let's start with something that you might have completely forgotten to do over the last 18 to 20, 25 years. Now that your house is empty, you have some time to yourself, you can focus on yourself. When you got kids in the house, Lord, you cannot focus on yourself. You even forget you've got a self because everything is about raising those kids. So we want to focus on yourself. What do you like to do? What kind of things did you used to do before kids that you still enjoy doing but you haven't had the time to? Go back, pick up some of those things. Hobbies, reading, traveling, all those things that you used to love doing but not so easy to do with all those little kids in the house. You're now more than just a chief, cook, and bottle washer, and chauffeur, and therapist, and drama, chaos coordinator. You are now a person. So take that Zumba class, plan a girls' weekend, get some of your friends together that also are getting an empty nest, go to the beach, go to the mountains, just have a little girls' trip where you get to just relax and not have to solve anybody else's problem. The first thing I'm gonna say not to do is don't turn their room into a shrine. I've seen so many people, bless their hearts, they take their child's room and they leave it just exactly like it was, or they make it into this holy, sacred sanctuary that has photos and trophies and all the things that really all they do is take you back to the past. We're gonna live in the present. Take that room, think about what you can do with it. Now you might want to keep a little day bed in there in case somebody wants to come spend the night, but you can take that room and do whatever you want to with it. You can make a library if you love to read. You can make a sewing nook or a craft room. You've got all this extra room and this one room where you can do what you want to do and shut the door. You can either shut the door while you're in there and have some me time, or you can shut the door when you're not in there and nobody has to see the mess you made while you're working on your crafts. So think about that room. What's something you'd like to have some space to do? Maybe some exercise, maybe some yoga, maybe you want to get a treadmill, maybe. The possibilities are endless. You can just think outside the box because this is your box now and you don't have to worry about, are they keeping it clean? What does that boy's room smell like today? Because you know what those teenagers are like. So think about it. Take that room and do something with it, but by all means, don't make a shrine to your little babies that are no longer babies anymore. The next thing we want to do with our empty nest and our kids is do stay connected to them, but don't smother them. They've got to have some space. How are they going to spread their wings if you don't give them space to do that? We want to call them. We want to check up on them. Are you doing okay? Are you eating? Are you all the things that we worried about when they were at home? We want to do it now. But listen, honey, they're grown-ups. It's time to accept that and say, okay, I want to talk to them, but when's a good time to talk to them? Maybe even talk to them about that before they leave and say, what do you think you'd be comfortable with? Maybe we can set a time on a certain afternoon or night that we're both free and we can have a little chit chat. If they're in school, you of course want to make sure you're being respectful of their school time. If they've got a job, all those things, take into consideration and maybe discuss it with them before they leave home and say, I don't want to crowd you, but I do want to make sure you're doing okay. But if you constantly call them and text them and I need to know about you, what are you doing today, every 5 minutes, they're going to fly further than the coop. They're going to totally ignore you. Sorry. But what you need to do is just text them once in a while, say how you're doing, give me a call, let me know how you're doing. And then when they call you, it's because they want to, not because they feel like, oh, if I don't call mom, she is not going to leave me alone. So give them space, but do stay connected. Now, the next thing we don't want to do is just fill up this empty space with busy work. You know how we are in the South. We got to stay busy. We got to be doing something. If we stop and think too long, we might feel our feelings and we might have a little moment. So what you want to do is, let's don't go back and reorganize your pantry and put your canned goods in alphabetical order for the 4th time this month. No, honey, you want to find something that lights you up, something that you want to do, not just busy work. We've all got housework. Housework is never over with. But you don't want to just make it busy work just to fill up time. You want to make it meaningful. Do some volunteer work. That's something that's always available. So think about what you're doing to spend your time. Make sure it's not just something you're doing just to, I don't want to think about those kids, so I got to do something else. No, you want to do something that you enjoy, something that you want to do, something that fills you up, not just fills up your schedule. Don't overschedule yourself, but do things that are meaningful to you. Another thing you do want to do is strengthen your marriage and your friendships. You know that fella that's been sitting on the side of the couch watching TV every night with you? Yeah, you might want to turn around and look at him and get to know him a little bit better. Learn who he is now. You've both changed over the years of raising kids. So maybe plan a date night. Plan a little side trip like we've done this week. Do some things to get to know each other a little bit better. Sometimes we're so outward focused on those kids that we never turn and look at each other. Now's the time to do it. Now's the time to rekindle those interests that you have together and find out what he would like to do with his time. Maybe he wants to go fishing and you want nothing to do with it. Great, you do what you want to do. Let him go do what he wants to do. But always find time to do things together. Get to know each other. This is the time that you get to spend together, just you two. And also, don't forget your friendships. It's hard to maintain friendships when you've got kids in the house because your kids' schedule overrides everything. So once the kids are gone, you can start having little coffee dates. Have your friends over for dinner. Have a book club. Do something with your friends that you can maintain and refurbish those friendships that you've had that you kind of had to neglect a little bit while the kids were at home. This next one is a big one. Don't guilt your kids into coming home. I have a mama. I have a Southern mama, and she is the expert at this. They say that other cultures are bad about guilting their kids. I don't know that Southern mamas have anybody that beats them at this. It's the whole, I guess I'll spend Thanksgiving by myself this year. Big sigh. No, you don't want to do that to your kids. Of course you want them to come home for the holidays. Of course you want to spend special time with them. But the way to get them there is not the guilt trip. The guilt trip, it ruins the whole time even if they come, because they're there because they're not necessarily because they want to be there, but because mama's going to feel bad if we don't go. Do you want them to come home under those circumstances? I don't. I want them to come see me because they're excited to come see me. I want them to come see me because we're going to have a good time and we're going to enjoy each other's company without all the, is mama happy? We got to go and make mama happy. No, mama's going to be happy on her own, and the icing on the cake is when the kids get to come home. So please don't call and guilt your kids about coming back home. Some of them, if they've gotten married, they have another family, their in-laws, that they need to also spend time with. So everything is so much better with communication. Y'all sit down and talk about it. Sit down and talk about what their expectations are and what your expectations are, and you can meet somewhere in the middle. Do start some new traditions. Your holidays probably won't look the same. Fewer people, probably. Some families still all get together, everybody. But your family celebrations might look a little bit smaller. They might look a little bit different. But this is the time to start new traditions. Just because it was always everybody comes to mama's and we always have turkey and we always do this and we always do that, doesn't mean it always has to be that way. Southerners, we are not really big on change. We are really resistant to change a lot of times. But this is the time to get used to it. This is the time to start some new traditions. Think outside the box and get some things going that you look forward to the holidays, even if all of your kids can't be there. You can start a new tradition with your spouse. Plan a yearly, really special vacation, just you and your spouse. Plan date nights. Plan different things with your girlfriends. We've talked about that before. Just get out there and do some different things to start new traditions so you don't miss those old traditions so much. A big no-no is do not compare your empty nest to somebody else's. Everybody's family is different. You're going to have Betty over here whose kids live in her backyard. She's probably over here wishing they didn't come to her house that much. Then you're over here with your kids in another state that you hardly ever see. But you can't compare your situation to somebody else because everybody's life is different. So be happy with what you do have and understand that maybe that grass that looks so green over there may not be that green. Maybe you've got it better than they do. We started out here talking about how quiet the house can be once the kids are gone. When that last one flies away, it can be a little quiet, but start enjoying the quiet. Remember all those times when they were running around your feet and you're like, if I could just have 5 minutes of peace and quiet. 5 minutes. You go to the bathroom, you got them knocking on the door, pushing little toy cars underneath the door. I know, been there, done that. Got the I've got grown-up kids t-shirt. So start to enjoy the quiet. Relish in it. There's nothing wrong with not doing anything and just sitting still and enjoying the quiet. You got a lot of time to catch up on after all those years of mama, 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 all over the place. Last but not least, don't forget you're a rock star. Look at the job you did. You raised those teeny tiny little babies into grown people who know how to go out and be on their own. They know how to do their laundry. They know how to cook a meal. They know how to take care of their own kids because you did such a great job taking care of them. So remind yourself every day, look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I did a great job. Be sure and remember that just because they're gone doesn't mean you're forgotten. And just because they're gone doesn't mean your life stopped. This is a new chapter, honey. Step out there and enjoy it. Grab a cup of sweet tea, call up your friend, sit down and have a little chat. Have a good time with this next chapter in your life. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel and share it with some other moms that might need some encouragement. Also, down in the description, you're going to see a list of a few books that might be helpful. Just click on those Amazon links and you'll be able to find those books that might be giving you some ideas about some things to do with this new chapter. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.
Welcome back now. Here.